And, you're all talking. Sometimes you're telling bigger stories and see who's got the biggest story. And oops, all of a sudden, you've said something that you're not meant to say. What do? And there's been times when I've had to rely on my friends for them not to pass on what I've said. I've had to rely on them. And there are other times when I've been in a group of people and someone has said something and I know they shouldn't have said that, and they have to rely on me to protect their indiscretion. And all of us, I'm sure, have been in situations like that. Very easy to pick up what somebody said and then pass it on to somebody else, and all of a sudden it becomes a rumour and it's spread around and it gets bigger or littler or whatever, but it goes around and round and it hurts people and it's destructive. Proverbs 10:14 says, a wise person holds their tongue. Only a fool blurts out everything they know. Proverbs 11:30, and a gossip goes around spreading rumours while a trustworthy person tries to quiet them. Some people think that if they hear someone talking about a friend of theirs and saying things about their friend, that they should then go to the friend and tell what that other person has said. I say, no, you don't do that. We have to protect each other. We have to protect the people who say things, and they may immediately regret it, but they've said it. And we've got to protect those people sometimes about their stupidity, because we've all done it, and we will all do it, because we're not perfect in what we say. And on the other hand, we've got to protect our friend, from things that other people may have said. We've got to protect them, because words have the power to hurt people deeply and break relationships. And it can happen right here among us, and it happens often in churches, because we're just as human as anybody else. We say things that end up hurting each other. So we've got to protect each other from these indiscretions. Secondly, when we become aware that we've hurt somebody, we need to be big-hearted enough to go to them and apologise. Now, all of us find that difficult to do. We always have a few excuses why we shouldn't do it. But we've got to be generous. In fact, we almost need to learn how to be generous-hearted enough to actually go and apologise to people when we feel we've hurt them. And thirdly, if you've got into a bad habit of saying things to others, put-downs, sarcasm, whatever it is, angry kind of words, putting out your frustrations on other people instead of dealing with them yourself. If you got into a bad habit of doing that, you need to sit before God and say, God, you show me what I'm doing here. Because sometimes we're brought up in families where there are family dynamics in what we say, that we kind of just get used to using sarcasm to put somebody down, or to be blunt with our words, because that was our family dynamics. But when we get out there with other relationships, we soon realise that our bluntness or our sarcasm, actually it can be really destructive and it hurts people. And there are times we do need to sit before God and say, God, be like a big torchlight, a searchlight in my life, and show me the things that I need to adjust and change so that I don't keep on hurting people with what I say and how I say them. We need to watch that. So that's the first thing. Let's watch what we say to one another. Secondly, what do you do when someone has hurt you? Proverbs 18:21 says, the tongue has the power of life. And it has. You all use it all the time. You say good things to each other. You encourage each other. You share, you speak kindness or caring into each other's lives. It's got the power of life to bring life and encouragement and build each other up. But that verse also says, and the tongue has the power of death. We can destroy people. We can hurt people. We can demolish them. We can do it in our families, where we undermine the self-esteem of our own kids by putting them down and putting them down and putting them down and being harsh with our words towards them. And we undermine their sense of value and our worth. So it's got that power to bring death into the people's lives. James tells us that the tongue is a small thing, but what an enormous damage that it can do. And it can do it in our lives. Some of you can remember words that were spoken into your life years ago. They've never gone away. They're still there. Like a little ticker tape in your brain. You can remember the words that someone said to you. And for some of you, that was a one-off incident that you remember. And for others, it was an ongoing, continuous kind of put down in your family by your parents or other people, where you were just, people spoke things into your life that were put downs. You know, you're fat. You know, you're stupid, you're dumb. All of these kind of words that sometimes people experience or hear in their family life. And you get fed that. It really undermines your whole sense of value and worth as a person. Now, if in your experience as you were growing up, that was what you experienced, those negative words being fed into your life all the time, what we tend to do is we continue to do that to ourselves. We take over our parents' job, as it were, or our parents' role. Someone has said, as you were parented, so you parent yourself. So if you were fed a whole lot of negative stuff, or you felt you were judged or attacked by your parents and in a very negative way, what you tend to do is you pick that up and you do it to yourself. And so you've got this inner ticker tape kind of stuff, continually feeding yourself with what you were parented with, or what was fed into you with the negative kind of words. And some of you right now can know what those words are. You just got a ticker tape that goes on inside yourself. And what you do to yourself is you actually judge yourself and you attack yourself, and you actually keep on doing that over and over and over again. And so what happens is that you undermine your sense of value and your sense of worth. And it's just an ongoing thing that happens in your life. So what can you do about that? What can you do if you've been hurt by what other people have said to you? And where do you go with it? Well, I think the first thing is important, is that we need to find someone that we can trust and talk about those things. You know, these kind of hurts and wounds in our lives, they always get power by being in the dark, you know. And Satan uses those things in our lives to keep on reinforcing them. If you've got this ticker tape in your mind, you know, I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm useless, and all the rest of it, Satan climbs in on that, and he will use it and use it and use it and use it to keep on reinforcing your sense of worthlessness and uselessness. And he does it all the time. So we need to bring it out into the light, as it were. Confess it, talk to it with somebody, and start owning that this is actually what goes on in my life. Secondly, we need to stop demonizing people in our own minds. I don't know about you, but you know, if someone hurts me, one of the things that I tend to do, because I'm an introvert, I tend to process stuff inside my brain. You know, so I go out to the garden and I get my spade and I start digging vigorously in the garden, and I start demonizing the person in my brain. Do you know what demonizing means? We start thinking that this person has got not a good bit of goodness in their life. You know, we kind of put them way out here as a bad person because they've hurt us. You know, they're a rotter. You know, you start thinking all the worst things that you can think of about this particular person who's hurt you. Don't we? We do that. And if you do that, and some of you right now can think of someone that you're doing that with, because they've hurt you. And so you kind of, in your mind and your thinking, you demonize that person. Now, if you do that, and if someone right now that springs into your mind, it's a sure sign that you've been hurt, and that you still got some work to do to forgive that person. And I guess one of the things I've learned is that as soon as I become aware that that's what I'm doing to somebody, you know, I try to stop and I say, okay, God, I've got some work here to do. I've got to keep on forgiving. Lord, and as soon as I become aware of it, I try to give forgiveness to that person again. Just say, Lord, I forgive that person, right? So that I don't keep on demonizing a person in my brain. And some of you need to learn to do that, because you carry this around in your life, and man, it eats up your energy.